70% of Republicans in Arizona think the election was stolen and fraudulent.
Right.
I feel like
you understand that's crazy.
What I've done
said you're still investigating.
We've run a lot of the stuff to ground.
And when you get it to ground, will you come out and say Donald J. Trump is wrong? The election in Arizona was fair, not stolen, and not fraudulent.
I've always been a straight shooter, and once all the facts and evidence are John, come on, man.
So why can't you say the election in 2020 was not stolen or fraudulent?
I will tell you this, as I said.
This is blowing my mind.
It's blowing my mind too, but it turns out now with new developments, there was always a reason he couldn't say that it hadn't been stolen, and that was that he was absolutely terrified of Donald Trump. He's terrified of the Republican base. Here's not the reason that he couldn't say it, that he didn't know that it wasn't stolen, because it turns out he had already at that point, that was 2022, he'd already known for 2 years definitively that it hadn't been stolen. And this is coming thanks to Democratic Attorney General Kris Mayes, who took office last month and can now unveil the records from when that chucklehead was the Attorney General. Because apparently in March 2022, there was a summary of the investigative findings of Arizona, and he didn't put it out because it showed that there hadn't been fraud, that the fraud claims being spread by Trump and his allies wasn't true. He just sat on it. A month later, he released an interim report. It wasn't interim. They were already done. He just didn't want it to be released. That claimed his investigation, quote, revealed serious vulnerabilities that must be addressed and raises questions about the 2020 election in Arizona. That wasn't true. The report was done and showed that that wasn't true. His interim report actually received pushback from his own investigators, who said that some of its claims were already refuted by the inquiry that they had completed at that point. And so this is why we're worried about people like this, massive lying grifters getting into positions of power, because they will just knowingly lie about the results to manipulate the outcome. Thank you to the new Attorney General for shedding light on this, by the way. Shuster, what do you think?
Bearing the facts. I mean, we see that over and over within the Republican Party, that if facts come up that are so obvious, well, you just don't talk about them, or you say, well, it hasn't been resolved yet, as this former Attorney General was suggesting. No, it was resolved. And again, why are people? I get in some way you're afraid of Donald Trump, you're afraid that he will end your political career, but how could a political career be worth anything if this is how dishonest and unethical you are? If all you stand for is your own reelection, your own political power, and you don't stand for any shame, for any integrity, for any version of the truth, what use are you? This is such a wasted political life, such a wasted life anyway. And the number of people who fall into this trap is somehow just get addicted to the celebrity, and that's all they want. They just want to have their name in the news, even if their name is in the news now because it's associated with shame.
Yeah, because they've done terrible things. They want the fame, they want the money, they want the power. That is explicitly what he wanted. He was in a primary to try to run for Senate, and he was being pressured by Trump. And so he lied to all of the people that he had an ethical obligation to be honest with. Thankfully, there was a bit of karma in this case. He lost that primary bid, so he lied to his entire state for no gain whatsoever. Great plan, buddy.
Check out the Damage Report podcast each day, wherever you get your podcasts, whether Pocket Casts or Stitcher or iTunes. You can join me as I give you the news and stories you want, with a range of co-hosts and interview guests jumping in on the fun each day. Again, that's the Damage Report, wherever you get your podcasts. And if you get them at iTunes, don't forget to rate and review. Sometimes I'll read them live on the show.